Welcome back to True Story with John Gibson. Today we have a really special guest, Rafael Lovato Jr. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure to be here.
Oh man, so it's really my pleasure, So I followed you for years, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to talk to you today. And for those who may be a little unfamiliar, and most of the folks that tuned into this podcast are MMA and BJJ fans, so they're probably very familiar with you. But for the very few who may not be, this man has literally seen and done it all. We're like the same age, but it's crazy because I've been a fan of his for like 20 years. It's really weird to say that about somebody. But we're like literally we're in our primes. But anyway,
That's right. But
you've seen and you've done it all. You've achieved so much. But I think what made you really special to me, and I think it's kind of cool I get to hit record and say this, but what set you apart was like the person I got to know you kind of through social media. I was like, this guy is really like kind-hearted. He's like all about giving back to kids. I love how you teach as a professor, and you've given away a lot of informationals for free and stuff. So like I became a fan of you for all of those things on top of like the 8-time world champion stuff. So man, thank you again for coming on the show and making the time.
Oh, that means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. And it's funny the way you started things off, watching me for so long. I've been hearing that so much these days, and I'm like, I'm always, oh yeah, thank you so much. And then I turn to whoever's next to me, like, man, another compliment that makes me feel super old. It's funny. Some people, they're like, I've been watching you since I was 11 years old, like in middle school or whatever. But it's all good. That's the timeless vibe that I'm all about, and just still here doing what I love.
For sure. But really it's a testament to the fact you're a really high achiever. I mean, you're a super high achiever, and it's just crazy too, because in preparations just to this discussion too, like you go back to some of your records and things, you did so much so young. And I think that's why we feel that way.
Sorry to interrupt. You went out for a minute. Did you hear me? Okay. Did everything come through? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I apologize. Don't mean to mess up the show. I didn't hear what you just said. It went out.
Oh, I was just saying that it's a testament to just the fact that you've accomplished a lot. You've done a lot. And really, I think a lot of it is crazy because when you look at it on paper, you did a lot so young. And then you had a lot of your MMA success on the ladder. So I feel like it's kept you relevant for a good while.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm addicted. Sure. I can't stop, but I got babies on the way, so I'm definitely going to be slowing down a little bit soon.
And congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you, man. Your life is going to change in all the good ways, too. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And more inspiration, just find even more inspiration through them. And we'll see what I can do. Just try to keep pushing with the babies too.
And to that point too, man, you're one of the most productive human beings I know. Like, a lot of BJJ people get a bad rap for being lazy. That is not you. Like, I just feel like you came off a whirlwind tour of seminars, doing instructional with BJJ fanatics, right? Like, where all have you been recently?
So I did the Europeans. Well, I guess everything really kind of picked up the first week in February. We had the OKC Open here. So I led my team there. I competed as well, won a few divisions, and we won the team title. And then the next, so like a week and a half later, I flew to Italy, competed at the Europeans in Rome, did a little teaching throughout Italy for a few days. And then I went to Dubai. My wife and we did our baby moon. That was like a dream trip for her. And I was like, well, we're only going to be pregnant with twins once. So let's live it up. Let's get that big trip like that out of the way. Let's do that now. I was already in Europe, so I was, right there. And we had an amazing time, and it was just so nice. And I did some teaching there as well. Trained with Sheikh Tariq, who really impressed me, and had a great time. Then came home. And then a week later, I just went out to the Midwest. I'm basically squeezing in a lot of trips in a short amount of time right now, preparing for the babies coming. So, I have a network of around 30 schools right now in my affiliation. And so the Midwest is one of the areas where I have multiple schools. And so I wanted to go ahead and get out there. So I went to Boston first to film, and then I was in Chicago having a school there, Milwaukee, where Rufus Sport is, and I was working with those guys, and then also Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I was just driving place to place and seeing all my instructors there and all the students and checking in. We promoted 2 new black belts, really, really great guys. And everyone's just doing solid work out there. So got that in. And then I also have quite a few schools in the Northwest, in Colorado, and then some here in the South. So I'm going to be visiting a lot of these people in the next couple of months, before, traveling is going to get a little tougher, but it's good. It's good. I mean, the thing for me is like, I started traveling and kind of keeping up this schedule when I was really young to learn and compete and just for jiu-jitsu. It's been kind of my way of life since I was like 15, 16 years old. I went to Brazil for the first time when I was 16. Right. And so I'm pretty used to it. Everyone's like, they always say things to me like, how do you do it? How do you keep up with it? And, it definitely has its moments where it's hard. And sitting on the plane is actually one of the hardest things on my body these days. Right. But, you just adapt and I'm so like accustomed to it that it would almost be weird to be home straight for 2 or 3 months. That's like how it was during the quarantine. Like that was kind of weird. Like I'm always trying to either catch up or prep for the next trip the next trip, when I'm going to be gone. But but that's one of the best things about what I get to do is just connect with so many people around the world and and share my passion with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and why not maximize all those while you can. And one thing I feel like I don't know if you have a reputation for, but I think I don't know, maybe you do or don't, but you kind of have a legendary reputation for the way you take care of your body. Like everybody who's met you is like, yeah, but this guy's about his power naps, or he stretches, or, like you condition, and obviously you always stay in great shape, and you're always active too. So that's a testament to that. You've always a gamer to compete, like always, you're always consistent in that regard. But when did you start prioritizing that? Because you're so unique, and it's like, we all could learn this and we all could be better about those things. I guess when did you start implementing those practices? And what are some things you maybe recommend,
Well, you see, I'm in the sauna right now. Right. So I'm actually like living the example right now through on this podcast. I try to like multitask as much as I can. So anytime I have calls, like stuff where I'm just going to be on the phone or I got to do emails, I like we'll try to put it together with maybe a walk or like a recovery walk, some sort of easy cardio or sauna. I do a lot of Epsom salt baths. So a lot of times I'm typing up emails or writing out social media posts or whatever on while I'm in an Epsom salt bath. But, I've always, like, being in Oklahoma, far away from all the high level training, coming up as a kid, I put extra emphasis on my conditioning. I was like, well, if I can't get the highest level training everywhere, I'm just going to do my best to make sure I'm in better shape than everybody. And so that just became a practice of mine. And my dad, he was also a big example for me. I would always see him just super active, always training. He would teach all the classes, train in all the classes, and get his own extra workouts and training in. Growing up, I'm an only child. And so I tended to just kind of follow his lead and do a lot of that stuff with him. I remember there was a period of time where we would actually run in the morning together. Awesome. Whenever I was like in middle school. And so, I've been that kind of like, that work ethic has been there to always keep myself in shape. And throughout my 20s, I would say like towards the end, I was abusing it a little bit too much, abusing my body and the fact that I was in such good shape, and I'm always looking to do the next thing. Like, how can I push myself harder or further? And, there were a lot of times where I would literally be working out and training, you know, over a month, like over 30 days in a row. Like I would be like, yeah, Sundays, I don't need to rest. Like I'm going to do conditioning. I'm going to go in and train, roll, you know, hard lifts and stuff like that. And there was literally not really any sort of like recovery work or balancing happening. And then everything changed when, let me see if I can show you, but when I got this scar right here, I don't know if you can see. Yeah. So torn pec tendon. That was right after my first MMA fight. Like I literally, because I didn't get hit and it was really clean, I submitted the guy. I trained the next day after my first MMA fight because I had a bunch of friends in town, and I was like, "Oh, guys, let's go train." And then the next week, I competed 1 week after, and then I was like, I just kept training, and I kept training through, and I was going to compete in a jiu-jitsu super fight, and I just kept pushing, and then boom, training jiu-jitsu, I tore my pec tendon.
Wow.
And it was completely off the bone. It was you know, full tear.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No,
Another call came in. I just sent it to voicemail, but extremely painful, and of course had to have surgery. And that's when I realized like that was the first time in all my 20s basically that I ever had like the pause button put on, and I could sit back and just sort of reflect on where I was in life, what I wanted moving forward. And of course the first thing was like, okay, I need to take better care of my body. And I'm overdoing it. Like I was still competing all the time, and I didn't even always have the fire. A lot of times I was competing just because I was like, oh, why not? I'm in shape. Everyone else is doing it, and I'll go. And I wasn't inspired enough. And after having that first MMA fight, like, and feeling that, I was like, man, that was something I knew I wanted to do more of, but then I didn't want to be trying to put too much on my plate. And so coming back, I said, all right, I'm going to step away from all the seasonal tournaments like Pans and Worlds. I finally came to a place where I could like feel content and satisfied with what I had achieved. I was really kind of in my head because I hadn't won ADCC yet.
Oh, really?
Wow. And I didn't win a second GI Worlds. And so every year I was going for another GI Worlds, and I was like, well, let me do Pans too, so I can get sharp for GI Worlds. Let me go to Brazil. Let me do this and do that. And, you know, I was basically always on the podium. And I would have my moments where I was getting golds, but sometimes it was just too much. I wasn't like saving up. I was pushing myself to do it. And I medaled at the Worlds 8 years in a row, but I only got one gold. And I used to kind of like, man, I know I'm better than a one-time world champ, you know? But like I wasn't getting the result. And so finally during that time, I was like, man, instead of feeling like I wasn't good enough, I finally got to a point where I said, I'm proud of what I've done. You know, I had a lot of other moments where I made history, you know, winning Brasileiro and, you know, different Pans, Nogi Worlds, all this other stuff. And I did make it to the finals of ADCC. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some time off. I'm recovering. And when I come back, I think I want to go more into MMA. And the next year was the first year I just sat and watched the Worlds, and I thought I would really be dying to compete, but I was actually more okay with it than what I expected. And so then, yeah, I basically went all in on MMA after that. And I still did matches like super fights, and other little tournaments here or there, but I didn't force myself to do anything. And you know, I went where the inspiration was, where the fire was, and that was for MMA. And you know, had another amazing experience and you know, run for a world championship in MMA.
Amazing journey. Yeah. You took that to where you hope to take it, to the middleweight championship of the world against Gegard Mousasi, like in his prime, like pretty big task. Yeah.
And that was another, like, understanding the training and developing my routine coming back from the injury and going into MMA. You know, the MMA is very intense, physical. And the way I trained jiu-jitsu was also intense and physical as well, but just different in the sense that, you know, I was still in my comfort zone no matter what in jiu-jitsu. After all those years, I was really in my comfort zone. So I would push myself physically, but at the end of the day, technically I felt like I was on par with everybody. You know, I was, you know, I had proven that, but MMA, that hadn't been done yet. And so, I could feel the anxiety and, you know, like the fire, everything. And of course, mentally that puts stress. And so physically, you're a lot more vulnerable to getting hurt. And so I just try to find a better balance. And that's where I really brought in a lot of the recovery stuff that I do today. And of course I was in my 30s, on that MMA run. And so going back to your original question, things that I like to do.
I'm with all of this. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated.
So I don't train hard every day, anymore. I really push for like three hard sessions a week, with that being the intent. Okay. Today is my intention to push myself harder in training. And I do that more in the daytime now, to give myself more time to come down, rest, and recover before the next day. When I was younger, I would train hard in the day and the evening, like all day long, every day, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Now more just the hardest stuff I do in the day, 3 times a week. And I don't go hard in the gym, every day, of course. Like I just kind of focus on one strength day. Now I'm doing more. I'm actually doing like 2 strength days. And because I've been working to get a little more weight, a little more size, for ADCC this year. And I've taken away a lot of the sprints that I used to do, like bike sprints, row sprints, just to lighten the load so I can get a little stronger, get a little bigger, and just let the training be my cardio, my conditioning right now. And I'll do like recovery walks or rides, like longer 30 to 45 minute cardio sessions where it's low intensity. And I'm just kind of doing like a flush ride, like just getting warm, and you know, getting a good sweat, but lowering the intensity. So I have a couple strength days, at least one day a week where I'm riding for a long period, or walking if the weather's nice. And in between all that, like I'll have like maybe a pool day or just a movement day, where I just do like mobility, Budokan, Cameron Shane, shout out to Cam.
Cool. Yeah.
That kind of just no weight, just body weight type stuff. And, but I'm on the mats every day, basically. But then when I teach, I stop training as hard whenever I teach. Usually when I teach now, that's more just like light rolls, kind of drilling. And so, you know, just better balance. And then I'm like, for recovery, I definitely try to get body work done at least once a week. Sauna time, Epsom salt baths with cold showers, like hot, cold stuff. If I'm in a rush, just doing hot, cold in a regular shower. Yoga, a lot of stretching, you know. I don't,
you're like the blueprint, man. You do it all. Yeah. It's like I aspire to be this good about my own health, man.
Oh, you just feel it. Like you just,
you
know, if I stop moving, it gets worse. And so I feel it. And so I just, okay, I got to do something. My wife, she makes fun of me because no matter where we are, we're in a restaurant, I'll kind of like start leaning in the chair, and I'll, you know, I'll do so if we're walking through a mall or like whatever, wherever we are. I'll find a step or something I can put my leg on. I'll start stretching. Like whenever I'm flying, I'll just break out into a full stretch when I'm flying. I carry a lacrosse ball, and I use a lacrosse ball in the airport, whatever. Like just, you know, you figure out some things, and then it's just like staying consistent with it.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thank you for all of that. It's amazing. Thank you for all of that. Seriously, it's very enlightening. One thing you touched on, and it's maybe a two-part question now, it was really insightful what you had mentioned earlier about sort of your BJJ journey. Because as someone who's on the peripheral and a fan of yours, I just see success after success. But you're on your own journey and you want to win everything, you know, as a competitor, you enter, right? I mean, logically, that makes sense to me. But do you feel like you were ultimately like self-realized when you won ADCC? Was that the moment for you where you were like, I've done everything there is to do here now? Like, and then it let you pivot to MMA? Was that kind of that moment?
No, I haven't won ADCC. I was a silver medalist. And like I said, that was one of the things that kind of used to eat me up. You know, it was
misinterpreted that. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. You know, like,
so then this year, I mean, what are your predictions? I mean, you're training for it, and I'm going for gold, you know, and everything happens at its right time. Something that I've learned, you know, you have to stay positive. You have to always be grateful, take the lessons, you know, you give your best, and whatever you go for, if it doesn't work out, it always leads you to the next thing. And, right. You know, maybe everything would have been different. I don't know if I would have won multiple world titles, ADCC, who knows if I would have gone into MMA with the same fire. You know, your journey is your journey. Right. And everything happens at the right time. So right. That injury, it happened at the perfect time to help me refocus, and it made me super inspired to go all in on MMA. And then I had that amazing experience. Yes. And then, you know, and then it got cut short. And when that happened, everything went down with my brain condition and having to be, you know, kind of forced to retire, not being able to get approved to fight anymore. Whenever I was like, I climbed the mountain, I was at the top, and now all the benefits of being at the top, you know, finally I could get good paydays, you know, headline big arenas and all that kind of stuff. It was right there. And then I have to stop. And that was really hard for me to swallow, and navigate through. And then I came back to jiu-jitsu, and I had some good wins. I also had some tough losses, like coming back after being, like not focused on that game and getting a little rusty. But I've learned a lot these last couple of years going through that. And now I feel like I'm in a great place, and I just won the European championships. And I feel like, technically, mentally, physically, everything, you know, it's not over yet. And who knows what's going to happen this year, at the rest of the events. But what if this is the year that I win? And I can look back and say, oh, all that was for this moment, you know. Everything that I've gone through in life, where you ask yourself, why did this happen? Why me? Or why did this get put in front of me, this obstacle or adversity, whatever the case may be. Once that time passes and you move forward a little bit, every single time that's happened, I've always been able to look back with a sense of gratitude and appreciation for that obstacle. And because it led me to the next great thing that was there. And you learn from it, you grow. And I don't know, if everything's going perfectly, like you're always winning and just life is so smooth, you know, the gratitude like isn't the same, because you don't have those down moments that make you appreciate the highs, and you don't learn as much. And I've just been through that my whole life, like coming up in Oklahoma without a black belt, here teaching us. I mean, I lost a lot as a kid. I was never a world champion at the lower belts. There was just so many difficult moments, but then I became a black belt world champion. And then I could look back and say, oh, well, losing at the lower belts and all those times that I got beat up or tapped out or whatever, in training and competition, it kind of didn't matter anymore, because I still achieved my ultimate goal. Yeah. And life is good, you know, and as you mature, you know, you realize that
it's not even so much about the titles, it's the journey, right? It's
right.
the experience, the people you get to share it with.
Right.
You know, when I couldn't fight anymore, MMA, like what I really missed the most was just being in camp and being with my guys, being with my team. You know, it's not about the titles. At the end of the day, those come and go. It's just the relationships, the experiences, you know, with my team, my family, even my peers, my opponents, you know, growing that mutual respect for each other, and just like the reward is so much more than just winning, right? If you're a competitor, that's really like the smallest thing that we get. There's so much more, and I've just you learn that more as you get older, and and now I'm really doing it out of pureness. Like this, what you see from me nowadays, I'm not there to try to prove anything or make my mark anymore or whatever, like get more fame or like that. That doesn't matter. Like it's not about that. Now I've already done that, and now it's just purely for the challenge to be there because I love it. And of course I want to win, but like I trying to get myself in a place where understanding that that's not what it's really about.
Of course. I mean, let me say this. Let me say the silly part first, then I'll say the latter. But like, you have all the tools. I mean, and their rule set's obviously unique, but you have the perfect no-gi experience, and even candidly MMA to help with some throws and slams, which are really important, you know, in that rule set to be super successful. You obviously have the submission game to do well. You're in great shape. Like, I'm super excited. So, but you're right. I say all that to say this. Everything you just said, it's not about winning. And man, I'm so impressed with the fact that you have such, like, you said maturity, but it's like more than that. Like, I don't know, man. I wish I had that kind of like bigger perspective about it. I mean, I ordered after I think you were on Rogan, Napoleon, is it Hill's book? Like I ordered that, and I read that a little bit. And there were some really great quotes I found pretty motivating in that. And you know, you sort of inspired that. You've also spoken both today and in the latter about your dad as an inspiration in the past and stuff. Are those like the influences? I mean, you said you learned through your own journey too, but like, did you have that foundation at home, I guess, to help keep you motivated as a white belt, blue belt, purple belt that was getting beat up, you know, to keep you sort of motivated to stay on the journey?
Well, my dad, he definitely put the work ethic and like the never give up type attitude. He definitely instilled that into me. So he definitely laid the foundation for everything, who I am as a martial artist, and my attitude and my like routine, purpose. Like he instilled that into me. So 100%, he was the not just the voice, but also the example as well. And then you know, I've had like I've been blessed to be around so many incredible martial artists, like literally my whole life. And you know, anyone that really lives like a true martial artist lifestyle where they are constantly a student, always learning, always trying to better themselves, and then share and make a positive impact on everyone around them, you know, teaching and giving back. They all have a lot of inspiration to give, a lot of knowledge and positive energy to give. And those are the kind of people I've been around my whole life. You know, starting inside Jeet Kune Do, Richard Bustillo, Daniel Massano, rest in peace, Richard Bustillo. But these guys are like, I mean, they were still moving and learning and training. Daniel Massano is probably on the mats right now, you know, training with Jean-Jacques. And I mean, he's got to be, my goodness, he's got to be like probably almost 70, maybe older. Or right around there, definitely 60s, around 70. My dad's 64, about to be 65. He's still training. Awesome. You know, Carlos Machado was in his 30s whenever I was a kid. You know, he was coming up on 40 when I was training with him. he's still moving. You know, everyone that's been close to me. Look at Shanji, Cameron Shane, like these people. I see how they live the lifestyle, and I mean the whole thing, like the thing with Timeless that I talk about is just like I just want to be able to do what I love for as long as possible.
Yes.
So you live the highest quality life that there is, and when you're doing that and you're surrounded by other people who are doing what they love, it's just a beautiful way of life. And you know, there's never like there's never a lack of positive energy, and you just kind of learn how to stay inspired by being open to finding inspiration. So these people inspire me. I learn from them, and they set an example, and they inspire me. And then my students inspire me because they're here, they're learning, they're working, they're showing up. They have families, they have careers, you know, they have reasons to not be there, but they're there. And they're there, you know, for me, for the environment that we provide, the instructors and everything. And that's inspiring. It makes me want to do a good work and you know, show up every time. And then I get to travel, and then I connect with other people from all walks of life, all areas of the world, who are also living their passion and doing the same thing. And so you know, and then you read the right stuff, you look at the right stuff, you also can find inspiration from yourself. You know, like you get out of bed and you put in work whenever you were really close to not doing it, but you still do it, or whatever the situation may have been. You should be able to look back in that and be like, man, that I just inspired myself. Like, you got to inspire yourself, you know? Yeah. Find all your wins, look at everyone else's wins, and just learn how to absorb it. All right, I'm going to take that pushes me. I'm going to, you know, use that to fuel me. And so then you just stay fueled at all times, and, you know, have a conversation with you, and, you know, connecting with you, that's like more energy for me. And
great.
And I'm putting that energy out to everybody else, and then they're going to feel it, and then it comes back, and you just, how can I keep absorbing so I can keep going?
Yes. No, I believe in it. And it's more than karmic too. Yeah, it's momentum. And you're right. It's about feeding yourself the right things too. We often forget, like, if we watch Law and Order every night before bed, it's like, oh, do we really want to put that in our mind every night before bed? You know, it's like little things we can do. And I love it. Yeah. And you practice this stuff, and it's like it manifests in really positive ways for you. Yeah. And your students and stuff. It's a great example. You know, we're coming up a little on time, but I want to maybe also ask this too. I know you did just do the BJJ Fanatics instructional. Do you have anything else, or upcoming seminars, or maybe just your social media link? Where should we go to kind of follow you for anything kind of on the peripheral coming up?
Yeah, definitely. You know, social media, I'm always giving news and updates there. I'm most active on Instagram. My handle is Lovato, Lovato, just like Demi Lovato. I always joke that she's my cousin, and I'm the one that got her into jiu-jitsu. But yeah, Lovato Jr. BJJ. But I also have my Facebook page, and put information there. Those in the jiu-jitsu martial arts community can join my Facebook group. It's Timeless Jiu-Jitsu. So if you look for Lovato's Timeless Jiu-Jitsu on Facebook, like searching groups, you'll find it easily. I also have timelessjiujitsu.com. That's where the majority of all my teachings go. So, you know, I film stuff at home. I film seminars, live classes, different mindset discussions and things like that. I put into timelessjiujitsu.com. And the BJJ Fanatic stuff is just another channel to hopefully help bring people into Timeless Jiu-Jitsu, where I also have all my Fanatic stuff inside there too. So that's definitely the best place to learn from me and connect with me if you want to be a student or just get some inspiration, knowledge. It's all there. And I'm always on the road. I'll have some more stuff coming up soon, but definitely I visit my own affiliate schools more. Like those are the priority. And then I sometimes due to where I'm at, I can visit other schools that are kind of all like friends of mine, people that I've known for a long time, but I'm all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
And
Very active.
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to what I did in Boston. I filmed my first MMA instructional, like MMA grappling.
Cool.
I hadn't done that yet, and that was exciting for me because I learned so much through that experience. And I have a couple fighters here, and I work with some other fighters, you know, that I'm friends with, and like the Rufus Sport guys out in Milwaukee. I help some of them, but you know, it's not like I'm training a fight team day to day. So I still have a lot of this stuff that I feel like I've been kind of just holding on to, and finally I got to kind of put it all out there. And there's so much more. I filmed over 4 hours of just MMA stuff. Yeah.
I was struggling to meet like an hour and a half. I was struggling. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot, and I still had more. And finally I was just like, okay, let's just cut this here. I can do a part 2 or whatever later. And that was just the ground. I didn't talk about striking or takedowns yet. So yeah, I'm excited to put that out there. And then I did another gi series about guard retention, and kind of playing guard without using your hands so much. As we get older, the hands making grips,
so
it hurts, and I'm feeling that. And so that was something else I was inspired to do. But yeah, I'm always working on stuff. I'm going to be doing another Timeless Jiu-Jitsu special project next month, and be competing and getting life ready for these babies. And I'll be at ADCC, and that's it. Just never stop.
That's more than enough, man. And just to one little thing, and I'm so glad you brought that up. I myself have been an online student of Timeless Jiu-Jitsu. Everybody, if you haven't checked it out, go. Tons of content, anything you can imagine. And I'll say the person who directed me there was Seth Daniels from Fight to Win. He was like, John,
nice.
That's who told me to go. And I went there, and that is the perfect name for your style of jiu-jitsu. Like, I won't say game, I'll say your style. Like, you're one of these folks that's like, and I'm going to try to pay you a true, not lip service. This is like a real compliment, in my opinion. Like, people talk like guys like, I'm going to say like a Hickson. These people, it's like 1, 2, 3. And it's like, that's the game. And they like make it sound so simple. But then I watch certain people and do jujitsu, the same thing I try to do. And they make it look like that. I'm like, how do they just make it look like that? And it's this timeless jiu-jitsu to me. And man, that is you. And you're like cerebral gi, no gi. It doesn't matter. Like, you'll throw a triangle up, and I'm like, man, he just 1, 2, 3 that. And it blows my mind. We could do a whole other episode on that stuff. But man, you're so unique in that. And it's amazing. And the way you're able to articulate it and teach it is even as much of an impressive equal gift.
Thank you. Yeah, that's something I worked really hard on. I've been teaching since I was a teenager as well, helping my dad here. So I have over 20, almost 25 years of teaching experience too. And I think like one of my biggest passions is finding how to communicate and articulate these complex positions in a simple way. That's something that I love to try to do. And Timeless Jiu-Jitsu is definitely all about strong fundamentals, things that you can do forever, not just when you're young, athletic, strong, flexible, whatever, things that everyone can do for forever. And then also is the mindset, the routine, things that you mentioned. That's another part, like with not being able to fight MMA anymore. Whenever I came back to jiu-jitsu, it was like, all right, what's my purpose now? What am I, if it's not about titles so much, of course I still want to challenge myself and win whenever I do, but what's my bigger purpose? When I was in my 20s, it was to represent the non-Brazilians, the Americans and everybody out there around the world who were in little hole in the wall places trying to learn jiu-jitsu and get good at jiu-jitsu. I'm from Oklahoma, so I know exactly what that's like. But now, coming back in my late 30s, my purpose then that I felt was like, okay, I'm still here. I'm going to keep going. And I just want to show a style of jiu-jitsu that will work forever. The stuff that I do, gi, no gi, MMA, and inspire people that way. And then also talk about the mindset behind it, mindset of competition, training, teaching. If you have a school, how do you still get better? If you're training and you want to compete, how do you prepare for that? All those different positions that people have in life through jiu-jitsu, helping them, have the mindset and the purpose to make it to where they are the most efficient and, putting themselves in a position to have a strong practice for the rest of their lives. And so that's what I'm most inspired for now with that. And that's where the Thomas Jiu-Jitsu came. And then we started doing all the work to build, and bring people in on that. But I'm happy to know that you're in there and it's helped you. Yeah. Shout out to Seth. Thank you, Seth, for spreading the word. And everyone else is welcome to come along for the ride.
For sure. Yeah, everybody, let's go to that Facebook group right now. Man, Rafael, thank you so much. Again, this is so my pleasure. This was just completely insightful and enlightening. This is great. I can't wait I never listen to my episodes, but I'm going to listen to this one, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you again for finding the time, and again, completely my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Sorry for sweating on everybody.
Oh, no,
just get my recovery in, multitasking. Thanks for having me. Wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll get on the mat soon, work out together, train. We'll talk more. And wishing everyone all the best, and never stop. All right, keep pushing.
We got it. Thank you very much. True story, John Gibson, Rafael Lovato Jr.